Testing, testing. One, two, three. Let's see if this works here. Tech problems. I hope this works. Come on back. Problems. Alright, hopefully you guys can hear me. No echo? I think I had two audio inputs. Hopefully it's working. Yay! Yes! Alright. Alright, stream's over. Oh, I'm kidding. Okay, cool. I'm happy. Audio's back. Let's start this. Let's start this fresh. Welcome. I'm Mike, or oh my goodness. I'm an animator. I've been animating for a while, over 12 years. You guys already know me. I don't have to explain, but yeah, right now I'm going to try to see if I could stream some Maya animation on Twitch. I know it's about games, and I thought it'd be cool. A lot of people might want to see how animation for games are made because I know when I was an animator, I really wanted to see kind of what went on. And so what you see on the screen right now is Maya and my face. So the this character is a really basic blocky dude. He's not as complicated as most characters, like for League of Legends. And his model doesn't actually look like this. To protect, I'm animating for SuperWeapon, by the way. To protect this, and to protect their assets, I don't want to reveal too much, but every game needs shooting and running animations. So, they were kind enough to let me stream and show the process. I get to share my love, and they get to share what they're working on too, without hurting anything. So, with that being said, I'd like to get SuperWeapon on the line so that they can talk a little bit about the game that we're working on here. So I'm gonna give Mr. Amir Ajami a call. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so I think I have fixed
It's right.
my. Yeah, there's no more Icho, so that's good. Welcome,
Sweet.
Amir Ajami,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
welcome the Super Weapon team. I know you guys are there in the background, so uh,
Yeah,
d
say hi. Guys. Hello.
hello. All right, cool. Uh, so do you want to talk a little bit about your game and your people? That would be nice while I'm working here.
Talk about my people.
Talk about your
Let
peoples,
me
Yeah.
let me let me sing you the song of my people.
Yes, I've got my uke.
Uh,
I've got my uke. So,
no. Yeah. So these guys, man. So we're Super Weapon.
uh-huh.
We most of us came from EA, and some of us came from Zynga, and we've been working together for a hell of a long time. There's one man here named Mike Jones that I've worked with for uh, how long ago? 11, 12 years? Yeah. 12 years nonstop every day. It's not like, oh, I worked with him for a couple of years 5 years ago and then again 5 years later. Every day. I think he's the longest relationship I've ever had, actually.
Oh wow, more than your cars even?
More than anything. So yeah, there's seven of us. We all worked on the CNC games at EA, and then we did Empires and Allies at Zynga, and then we split last year, and we're doing this unnamed game right now. We signed with a great publisher back in the summer, and we're trying to launch this early next year.
Oh, so awesome. All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about the game at all, or who this character is, or I don't know how much you want to reveal. Of course, I don't want to bully you into, spilling the beans, but whatever you
Bully
can
me.
share, yeah, whatever you can share about this little guy that we're animating.
Yeah, so the game is kind of an RTS of sorts. It's for the mobile platform, so it has strategic elements, and you're controlling different giant robots.
So you're seeing them
And
from
this
like top down-ish, something like this,
top down,
right? Yeah.
exactly like a three-quarter isometric view. So
Hmm.
this guy that you're animating for us right now we're internally we're calling him the drone mech or epsilon unit,
Hmm.
and he has a primary weapon that he carries. You can see in his hands right now, and you can swap that out with six different weapon types. Mike C. But
Yeah.
between 5 to 6 to 7 different weapon types. But his main ability is this is kind of like superpower, if you will, is this he casts these drones out towards um, any enemies or structures in his way, and they kind of do the brunt of the damage, and they also take the brunt of the damage, kind of leaving him in the back to clean up after them.
Gotcha.
And he's that's so we should caveat that this is not what he looks like. We
Yeah, yeah. Who's making this game? Who's a modeler, Mike? Who did this?
It's so good. No, you blocked him out because we want to hide some of the details for our
Yes,
official
hadn't
press review.
exactly,
Whenever that was.
exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you kind of said he would be like one of those spy cars, one of those test mules that you see on the road with all the camo and the big boxy things on top of it to hide their
Yeah.
shape.
Yeah, so I'm hiding his shape here. Yeah. So he's actually a lot sexier, but can't really reveal too much. Um yeah. You can see some of that, but it's pretty unrecognizable.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're working through a pretty sizable list of animations. What are you
Uh
starting with?
yeah, so actually currently we have like a walk animation here, the basic blocked in walk. Um and currently he doesn't have an idle. It looks like at this frame here. At frame 150, he has looks like a board pose, and then this looks like maybe when he is selected, and this is I think this is his firing pose. So, and I think I might have like a basic firing animation. Sweet, yeah. There's something here. There's something here. Uh, so this is where I picked up the last time, and so the next animation would probably I don't know what are you guys needing right now? This is so funny. We're doing this. What do you guys need? So we
Signing it on the fly. Hey, where's Mike C? Mike C,
Mike C.
get in here.
Can't say my last name, please.
Yeah, no, that's too obvious.
His
We'll call
last
him
name
M.
is C.
We'll call him M. Colonnese.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh crap. All
All right.
right.
So what was the question?
Well, so okay, we got a couple things. What would you like to have next for the drop later on when I give you stuff? Maybe like an idle. Do you guys need like a basic idle that's non-breathy?
Yeah, it is deselect because that's the easiest thing to kind of test. You run him around in game, have him shoot, and then make it really obvious when you let go of him and pick somebody else for
Okay.
his idol.
All right, that's great. Well, I currently have a deselect pose, so before I go to Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights tonight, I'll try to get this idle out. Um, and hey, Mike, do you wanna talk about yourself since you're here? Who am I speaking with, Mike?
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Who are you,
I'm
sir?
the guy that you hate because I model crazy stuff and then you have to rig it all. So,
Anyway, yeah,
And he
you,
too worked at EA and at Zynga on Empires and Allies and Command
yeah,
and Conquer and Lord of the Rings and Medal of Honor.
and
What
and
else?
he also worked with me on Bastion.
That's right.
some little
Yeah,
tiny game was on my weekends.
yeah, little tiny game.
So
I did Bastion
just
mostly
curious,
in my underwear.
how long does it take you to do an animation like an idol?
Oh, that depends on the complexity of the rig and that's a good question. Complexity of the rig, how much we want in the idle. I mean, if we want like a basic sort of, okay, I'm here and I'm kind of like I have some sort of ambient motion. Usually, it's a couple hours if I'm lucky. Sometimes it'll be much longer if it's a complicated character that has tentacles or a cape. So
No
that's
capes.
no capes, Edna mode and guest. So, all right. Hey, Okay, I was wondering what shirt I was even wearing, if it's appropriate. But yeah, so I'm going to be getting to that. And when were you guys going to be shipping or hoping to ship?
Oh, I don't know if we can say that.
Okay, well that's fine.
Soon,
Soonish,
future,
soon TM
in
in the
the
future.
future.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Well, thank you guys for joining and kind of letting me do this. I think this is a really fun opportunity for me to practice and other people to see how animations are made, and for you guys to kind of like, hey, check out our game. So because I'm sure it's gonna be fun. So yeah, cool. Well, I'm gonna get to work. I am gonna get to work. If you guys need anything, or if you're watching the stream and you're like, no, no, not like that, just give me a call. I'll be here. Sound
Cool.
good?
Thank you, Lego.
All right, thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye, Super Weapon. All right. All right, you heard the men. So that's kind of the cool thing about being able to work from home. You don't have to be in an office. You can kind of just be in your underwear, which is how about 80-90% of Bastion was created when I was working on it. You never have to really wear any clothes, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, uh, let's get to work here. Okay, so this guy, for those of you who are non-animators, what you're looking at is a super basic. Well, first we're in Maya, 2015, and I've created a very basic rig, and the rig is the thing that lets you move this character around. If I grab like this hip control, here, this is why we're mature audiences right here. So that's not for kids. No, yeah. So that is the hip control. Here is the upper body control. So you'll notice all these little loops and rings are essentially what's driving these joints that you can see in, hopefully you can see here in orange. And the triple O, I don't work from home all the time, but now that I'm freelancing, I'm pretty much exclusively working from home, and sometimes I work in the SuperWeapon office. Usually when you're creating animations, you want to really be there because there's a lot of back and forth that goes on between you and the modeler who creates it, the rigger, which is me in this case, and also the designers and the programmers who implement all these animations. It's way easier to just turn around and say, hey man, something's wrong with this or something's wrong with that. Can we get a look at it? So I'll work in-house, and for the first couple of weeks I was working with SuperWeapon, I was actually in-house. So it helps with communication big time. But since I've already helped them set up their pipeline, I can pretty much just take characters, animate them, and get going on them. But so again, this rig here, it drives the bones that you can see under here. If I'm moving this, that controls the bones, and these boxes are also connected to the bones. So that's what I'll be doing. All right, so I'm gonna hide things that I don't need to see, like locators. I don't need to see the joints. All right. So what I want to do here, if I select this and I go to frame 150, this is the pose that I'll be working with when it comes to the idol. Because he's a mech, one thing of feedback that I got when I was dropping off another animation for these guys is that they don't want it to be too breathy. You don't want to, if there's a guy inside a robot, you kind of have to think, well, if he's in there breathing, what kind of mech is it? Is it one that he controls with his arms, or is it like connected to his brain so it does everything else? We don't want it to feel like a guy in a suit, so having him just kind of breathing was a bit off-putting because he's not like an android that needs to breathe or is half human or something like that. So wanted to reduce the breathing, but wanted to create some sort of ambient motion, and that ambient motion is usually best in like a sway or something. And you also have to remember all the animations are created from this top angle. Yes. SNS Deluxe. GG. Is there a different style of animation between mech and human? Yes. I mean, okay, here, let me get these keys down here. So I'm going to copy these keys and move my timeline over here. Let's extend this out to like 500. And I want to copy this at frame 300, paste. Okay, boom, and then we have a pose, which is nice. And from frame 300 on, this is all open territory. Down here is my time slider, by the way. This is, where you spend a lot of your time as an animator. All right, so this guy has been posed, and obviously animation is pretty intuitive when you think about it. All it is really is move, rotate, scale, and and you set keys. So for this guy, we're animating at 30 frames a second. I'm just going to verify that in my settings. Good. Yes, 30 frames a second. And we are in inches. Yep, that's right. Okay, so that means every 30 ticks here is 1 second. And let's see. Usually when you start animation, you kind of want to start with the hips. One of the guys who taught me animation early on my first job was like, hey man, it's all in the hips. Funny thing is, a lot of things are all in the hips, martial arts, dancing, baseball, all that stuff. So if I were to make a key here at 330, that would mean whatever delta was, I would see the delta from frame 300 to frame 330. So if I move this, save it, over 1 second, he'd move that far. And you notice that the arms aren't following because that's how my rig is set up. Sometimes you can spend a lot more time with your rig and have snazzy doodads where you could change this to either I move the hand and the rest of the arm moves, or I take the arm and I move them around kind of like a figurine. Most of the time it's easier for me to animate in IK, and I didn't create anything in my rig to allow me to do any really easy switching. So I've kind of stuck with IK, and that's what I'm going to use for the rest of this dude. But IK allows you to have things like this, where if the gun moves, the hand sticks. So for today, let's see if I can get a simple idle, and we're going to start with the hips. I'm trying to think of what would be good that isn't breathing, because I think my first go was rigging is weird. So rigging is hard. I just saw that in chat. But originally it was like more of this sort of breathe like this, and that looked weird. So I think some of the best things to do is just kind of like, if you're ambient, you kind of have like a sway, a slow sway, right? And I'm trying to analyze how long it takes for my sway to go back to the beginning. So if I start in the middle and I sway left, 1 1000, 2 1000. So by the time I get all the way left, that's already 2 seconds. And then from here to the other side, 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, and go back to the middle. So could be like a 5-second animation, ish. And let's see, Georgia Ash, do you listen to music podcasts while you work? Yeah, I do, but right now I probably wouldn't be able to think at the same time. Animation requires a lot of concentration. Have I ever animated a grown man naked? No, but well, actually, yeah, because when you sometimes get models and stuff, they don't have clothes on them. So technically, I have animated grown men naked. Actually, I've animated a lot of grown men naked. So There you go. So here's that first part of the sway. I said it took about 2 seconds to get to one side. So that's about here at 360. I'm going to take the key I made at 1 second, slide it over to this key I made at 2 seconds. So now he's going to take 2 seconds to kind of get over there. And I know that when you're changing weight over your hips, you never move in like a linear fashion. You always kind of have a little bit of up and down, sort of halfway through. So just a slight upwards motion here. So this will feel a lot more natural as he's shifting weight. He'll settle into this position and maybe just hang out here for a bit. You'll notice that like one technique I like to do is if I'm animating and I see this motion here, I have my eye down here on the toolbar here. So after here, boom, and about right there, I'll let it play out. That's kind of like my timer. And about that, in this amount of time, I want him to kind of bounce back. So he's going to go here, go there, and then settle. Because you never just, I know he is a robot, but you never just kind of like stand there and do a hard stop. So whenever you're doing a weight shift or almost any motion, there's always like what we call like an overshoot and then a settle. And this overshoot settle is happening way too fast. So what I'm going to do is just take this key, slide it over a little bit, and then there's a settle for the other side. And that's still kind of happening too fast for my liking. Or maybe it's just too harsh of a motion. And don't be afraid to delete what you're doing. Does the bouncing ball technique incorporate in the mech rig? It doesn't move as the same as human. Yeah, that's really up to you whether or not like how you want to make that. We've kind of gone for some sort of hybrid sort of approach with you know what we're doing with the bouncing ball and stuff. So let me retweet this. So yeah, sometimes it works. Nothing is like, you know, super scientific. Sometimes you just go with what feels right and what looks right. Okay, so this needs to move down a little bit this way. So I'm skipping back through frames. Alright. I feel like my keys are almost like linear here. Let me check out my graph editor and see what is going on with these keyframes. Okay, they're not linear, they're just kind of weird. So there's my graph editor here. So you'll notice my IK isn't following my hands, and that's the biggest drawback about just going with a straight IK. I could go in and you know, change the parent and say this guy is, you know, following something else. But I run into a lot of problems. What I end up doing to solve that problem is create a locator that is attached to the mesh, and then I'll just basically align that thing to that locator. It would be nice if I had like, I'm not really much of a rigger or a tech artist, but tech artists, they are an animator's best friend because they do that stuff for you. Alright, so back to this. Hips. It's always hips first. And this guy's going to chill out here for a while. Maybe a very slight motion back here. Super. Yeah. Alright, so he's chilling, right? His weight has shifted. And there's so many different ways to animate. Like when it comes to like super simple things, I like to just do the hips first and then make everything else follow afterwards. One thing about weight shifting is that your hips are actually into this. So let's see which frame I made. This key, that key. All right, that's frame 360. I want these hips to kind of come up on frame 60, just to show that they're bearing weight. And eventually you're going to have this slightly going this way. Alright. So I've got this weird rotation here, if you guys noticed when I do this. Why is he rotating left? I never set any keys to have him rotate left. So going into the graph editor again, we're going to take a look, and it looks like the rotation has this weird curve to it, right? So you'll see when he's here, there's that left rotation that we really don't want. So you can usually just get that out there, or you can hit this fancy schmancy auto tangents button. And now you're not getting undesired rotations. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and hit that fancy schmancy button right now because I'm getting some weirdness right over there. That's stuff that you don't want. You usually don't want. Sometimes it gives you a nice overshoot, but sometimes it doesn't. Like right here. Alright. Time check 4:49. Cool. Like to step through. Alright. Maybe he'll kind of give a glance to the side. Maybe kind of glance here. See if I can select that. I should really put these guys on a different layer. 330. Looking left. Alright. So that's a cool little settle. He's got his hips working, he's got his upper body working with it too, so. Okay. Let's see. Oh, what do I mean by the bouncing ball? Let's see. If you guys don't know, I could actually show you my bouncing ball actually from when I was a young warthog. When I was a young warthog. Alright, let's see here. My channel and my videos, I actually have my bouncing ball up here. Ah, yes. Hopefully, let's see, is this showing up? It is. This actually, I know it looks really shitty and it's actually pretty bad for a bouncing ball, but the first day I animated in Animation 101, this was what I was doing. So the concept is, like you want to get the timing down of things, and this is the first thing they usually ask animators to do. Back in my day, we did it on pencil and paper with these little black boxes that take pictures of your thing and then you put it to video, and it was a real pain in the butt. But this actual animation, after I think it was like 24 drawings, I fell in love with animation. I knew that this is what I was gonna do, and it was because of that poorly animated bouncing ball that led me here. I mean, I was taking classes for modeling, I was taking classes for texturing, and this is just like some early play blast stuff that I haven't really blasted out anywhere, but you can see my thumb pop in the side of the screen there. That that's what happens when you're taking all those pictures. So yeah, wait, which one's this one? Oh, it was Rudolph. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here, but this is really old stuff. Really, really, really old stuff. So that's the bouncing ball for the person that asked. It's very, very popular assignment. Popular first assignment for people. So yeah, actually yeah, yeah, they are the naked dudes. What button did you press through to make it go step through animation? Oh, okay. Um, Let me show you. So with when you're stepping through the animation, I have my hotkeys kind of set up so that I can hold Alt and go tilde and 1. So in Maya, there's also a button. I believe it's Alt and what is it? Here, I'll type it in the stream. These things, Alt and those things, will help you. I don't know what they're called, like they're not brackets, but they're like the, you know, less than greater than signs. Yes. Okay. Cool. But I have it set up so that if I tap 1 and tilde, I can go back and forth between my keys, and this is really helpful because in Maya you're always pressing Alt. You hold Alt and you left mouse click to kind of rotate around. You hold Alt and mouse wheel to zoom. You hold Alt and you press the mouse wheel to pan. Alt and right mouse click, you can get a nice accurate zoom that isn't too ticky. I don't know, it depends on what you like, sorry. And yeah, that really helps you because you can quickly go through all your keyframes, and if I hold Alt, I can actually go frame by frame instead of keyframe by keyframe. So having everything just within my hand's reach is really nice. And unfortunately, you lose the ability to change things to you know, basic. You know, if I press a button, it'll get smooth shaded, and if you want to go back to smooth shading, I overwrite my button for that, but I never really have to smooth shade anything because I'm an animator, so that's usually what happens. But yeah, this is part of the idle. Okay, so that feels good. Let's see. That feels good. Let's see if we can get the other side moving in. So that's a save. So I think it'll be good to like have him hang for a little bit, just hang out in this position just for a little bit. It's very slight delta. Press plus to get your manipulators bigger and smaller. Pro tip, I guess. If you press plus, the range of motion is a lot smaller. So if you want to get really subtle rotations, if you wanted just a tiny bit, make that manipulator really big. Whereas if you made it really small, a small motion on your mouse will equate to a bigger motion in the rotation. So that's one way I like to adjust how much I want to rotate stuff in my viewport. It's almost like a sensitivity setting that you can change on the fly in terms of like how much things get rotated. I think since he's going over and kind of looking to the left, as you can see, you know, he's not just going to be blank staring there. So I'm going to set a key here because that's when he's going to start moving. And then I'll press play and then I'll pause it when about the time that I want him to make it to the next key pose where his head is moving this way. So from here, I want it to take about that long. You heard the clicks to look that way. So if you play that again, he takes about that long. So that's another trick I like to do. Instead of having to time things out, do the math, okay, half a second, therefore 15 frames, I do this way where it's like, okay, well, how long do I want him to be looking in this direction, right? So I just hit play. Okay, and I hit stop when I feel like, yeah, that's about how long he should be looking in that direction. So it's like, hold it for that long. I'll hit S to set a key. And then I'll, how long do I want him to go from here to like there? So he'll be, So he's staring here. How long does it take for somebody to turn their head when they're looking at stuff? So about that long. I'm gonna do the same. Once I start, I'll hit 2, and then that's also my play and my playback toggle. So I'll hit play and stop it when I move my head the right amount of time. So that's a nice little trick that I like to do. So he'll go here, hold it, and then look the other way. But as you can see, if I key through, that's all I should be seeing. But it's not. When I play through it, you'll see that there's all this weird sloppy overshoot. And that has everything to do with my graph editor and how these keys are being interpolated. And if you look, this is a key that I set, and that is a key that I set. And this extra stuff right there, I didn't want that. So, wah, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. I'm going to hit this magic automated tangent button, which kind of like, makes your tangents behave. It kind of takes a look at what other tangents are next to it and will usually intelligently get it so that, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you're like, huh? What's over here? Oh, what's over there? Cool. All right. So about right there is, is what, I was looking for. So that's a good point to maybe take a look at what's going on in the chat here. I haven't looked over. Angle brackets was the, yeah. I appreciate how Autodesk makes, their stuff accessible to students too. So, how often are you forced to hold back and make things less awesome than you know they could be? That's a good question. I don't know if I would say that you're forced to hold things back, but whenever you are, whenever you're doing stuff for a game, for a company, you always have to think about what sort of limitations am I under? What sort of limitations do I have via the rig itself, via how much time you have for each attack? Yeah, so there's always times where you have to kind of cut back on what you really want to do. Animators are always fighting for extra frames. So, yeah, so that's usually the short answer. You always have to just be able to learn how to work within your restraints. Sorry, I gotta text my lady asking about a printer. Alright, so let's get this. Looking left, looking right, that's cool. Let's save I want to hit a frame, keyframe everything here. And I'm also getting that weird. Maybe my tangents. Let's auto them. Alright. So now everything's keyed up. I think it would be nice to have some rotation. What is up with that? Okay. So some upper body rotation. So he's over here. I'm focusing on the chest. I want to get some rotation like he's looking that way. And he kind of comes back. That's good. Hey, one tiny rabbit. I know you. SuperWeapon is the best. Yeah, actually, yeah. Thanks SuperWeapon for doing this. They're really awesome for letting me show the animation process. So, and it's fun. I feel like I'm not alone right now because sometimes you get a little lonely when you're working at home. So thank you guys for keeping me company. All right. So yeah, if you're just joining, I'm animating this super simple character. He's probably going to be looked at, about yay high at this angle. So I don't know who John is. Lord John. Maybe I know you? I don't know. Maybe I do. Oops, sorry. Oops, I accidentally refreshed my page. Okay. I wonder how many of you guys who are watching are animation students? Do we have a lot of students in the thing? All right, so check it out. Yasuo from the Fan Expo. Awesome! Nice! Very nice, dude. Very nice. Awesome, dude. It was nice meeting you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Um, okay, so I'm going to try to get this guy kind of moving over to the side because he's kind of spent enough time on this leg. This leg, he's kind of like, all right, cool. Easy, easy, bro. Nothing over here. He's kind of you do modeling? That's awesome. What kind of modeling do you do, Swizzle? Male modeling? Okay, so I'll slowly get this guy over back to the other side. And sometimes you want to be super accurate and get your exact keyframe, and that's what I'll do here. So I'm going to select my hip thingy, my bob. I'm going to press S to make sure this is all keyed. Hold the middle mouse button, drag it over to where I think you should be. That feels about right. So he'll come over back to the other side where he started. And that looked lame because he's got no bounce to he has got no arc, there's no up and down to it, so. Character design. Oh. That's cool. You do it for fun? I truly believe when you do something for fun, when you're having fun doing something, you get better results. Because if you're like, I hate this job, or I don't like to do it, you're not gonna, one, you're not having fun, and then two, it always shows in the work. Okay, so I want him to actually switch, because right now he's more of on his center here, and he moved over to his left side, and bringing him back to the center doesn't feel right. I actually feel like he really needs to just shift his weight all the way over to the right side of his body. So I'm gonna do that. Having printer, the woman is having printer issues. Oh no, yeah, I do hope we do have a printer. Let's see here. I'm gonna extend this frame range because I get the feeling that we're gonna need more real estate. Again, animators always asking for more real estate. Anytime, like with League of Legends, you have a spell, you have to get from here to here in like 45 seconds or 45 frames, and sometimes that's not enough. A lot of spells in League of Legends are actually 0.2 seconds cast time, or if you're lucky, you get a half-second cast time, so you get a full 15 frames of animation. But sometimes the engine blends away the first and last 4 frames of your animation, so you're not really working with much. But animators are always like, yo, can I get another frame or 2? So yeah, here we go. Here's and for you guys who are watching that are non-animators, I'm sorry. Because this is like, what is this guy doing? I'm just gonna have this guy move all the way over to the other side. So let's think. So from here, he's standing up, and how long does it take a casual dude to like go to the other side? So maybe I'll do my little trick. I'll hit 2. Took about that long to get over to the other side. Let's see if that represents itself well and translates well in Maya. So goes to church. Cool. How do you keep from being aroused when you're doing mocap in a Unliker bodysuit? Actually, I've done mocap before. It's humbling because that suit kind of doesn't leave much to the imagination. Um, and I was assured that there wouldn't be any girls on set, so I walked out there and there was like four ladies with clipboards, um, kind of just like, hey, what's going on in the motion capture area? And I was just so embarrassed. One, it was cold because it was in Vancouver, Canada for Electronic Arts. And yeah, I guess just had to be like, well, whatever. That's there. Yeah, that's all. I'm on display there, and it was really weird. The people that were putting the balls on you, their job is to put balls on you. A lot of first-person shooter players would probably be good at that. I'll give him a slight twist as well to here. So when he's here, I'll make sure that by the time he gets here, there's a bit of a twist. So, boop, boop. That's what I like. So yeah, you could dance moves all day. And sometimes when animators get bored, this is what happens. Oh, wait, I noticed something here. My hip isn't doing anything. Because that, I didn't parent to the hip bone. So let me do that now. Yeah, I kind of slapped this together so that nothing would get, so that I wouldn't reveal the goods. Wall of text. Where's the hip bone? Ah, okay. Spine. Hips should be there. Okay. I hope I can parent that. Okay, know where that is. Boom. Where are you? Here you are. Okay, so let's find the hips again. Holding middle mouse button, and I'm gonna parent this to the hips. Can't do it. Referenced object. I see, that's right. Okay, well, right now we're just gonna have to deal with that because I don't feel like opening up my rig file. Oh, also another good practice is if you make changes to a rig, you always want to reference your animation because right now I'm referencing a rig, and it'll be really easy to just go in the rig and fix that the next time. I'm probably going to be streaming tomorrow too, so this won't be the last. This definitely will not be the last. But I just wanted to test out and see, and I feel like I'm first of all happy that this is actually even working, and I'm happy that you guys are coming in and checking it out. Here, moving off to the other side. Feels a little lazy. Feels a little bit too slow. So these are my main keys. I'm just gonna take this stuff, scrunch it down, scale it, and snap it. So here, boom. Yeah, that feels better. Maybe I could slow. Maybe just a little bit slower. If you don't snap it, they're gonna end up landing on like half frames, like 3.125, and that always sucks. You always want that stuff to snap into your frames. Let's see. The school I went to, Academy of Entertainment and Technology in Santa Monica, basically a community college. So kids, you don't have to spend lots of money to learn how to animate, because I didn't. But you do have to have the patience that it requires, and to be able to just, make sure and see that your quality level is up there with where you want to be. So this is hips only when it comes to the other side. Hips should go boop this way, sort of. Too much, and it's way feminine. Sometimes I do that to entertain myself, so bear with me. But yeah, you say, just standing here, I'm a robot. Okay. Yeah, too much. You just want a little bit, and this already is pretty good. All right. Here's my hip. Go up and then down. That's sweet. Oh, here, let me show you another little trick I like to do. So you want to do an overshoot, right? Usually you want it to go basically look like this. He goes over, whoop, and then he kind of bounces back and does that, right? Boop, boop. So he's like here, and I'm just manually doing that with a time slider. But what I like to do is take a key like this key right here, if you notice, right there. Let's see, what would be a bounce? So I'll take this key, slide it over to the other side, and then you have your insta overshoot. And it's usually pretty quick and easy. And then you don't have to really, it's pretty slow. Actually, it's a little dramatic. A little too dramatic. I'm going to take maybe a frame that's a little closer to it, like this one. Hit S, drag it over, and then you're going to get insta overshoot. A little fast. There you go. Okay. 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 So looking. I'm going to move over now. Boop. All right. It's a little fast here. That's the winner. Chicken dinner. So that's good. Right Wist. He was saying on Twitter, so much I want to do with so little frames. Hi, Right Wist, if you're watching. I don't know who is, but what is he working on? Can't say. But I can say that I know his feels. He is probably working on a spell or an attack in which he must get to his key frames, his key extensions, and his key poses in a very short amount of time. So, yeah. Is this well and good? Tutorial on Gyudon? Maybe one day. Maybe one day for Gyudon. A lot of walking animations in MMOs really miss the mark, as walking on rails, where the character doesn't actually look like his feet are making contact with the ground. Why does this happen? Can't the animator or AD see the issues? That's a great question. I'm actually really super a super stickler for walking and animating. That's one of the first things I did when I got to Riot. I wanted to figure out how can we get these things to work. And this is a really great question. I actually do want to answer it fully. So what happens is usually if you're going to do it the easy way, what an animator would do is just kind of take a guy who's walking and go, this is one I did earlier, and just kind of animate in place, because in video games you don't often get to actually have them translate in space, because you're not the one who controls how fast he walks, it's the player. Therefore, it's the code. And the code is what makes the guy kind of move forward. So what I wanted to find out when I got to Riot and League of Legends is, how fast are they actually moving? You need to know how fast they're actually moving so that you can accurately create your footsteps to follow that. And oftentimes in MMOs, it misses the mark, because sometimes in development, somebody goes, hey, this guy's walking too slow, he's walking too fast. They speed up how fast the engine moves him, yet the speed at which his feet move are the same. So, yeah. Pot Kettle Black, hi! So, welcome. So yeah, it's a coding problem, and I like to do something that I don't even know if it's visible here, but what I usually do, nerve surfaces. Here. This is the money maker here. So what I did at Riot is I tried to figure out how many units are what kind of units they use in the game, how fast the players are moving. So once you know how fast they're moving, you can animate that. So we figured out exactly how the game units translated over into Maya. And so what we found out at Super Weapon for this guy, and this is like a UV texture sort of thing, but what I usually do is I find out the speed of the unit in the game, and and then you also have to take into account their scale, which sometimes, once you get it in the game, you have to scale him up because he doesn't look as big, but that affects his animation. So me and this guy Ross Kemeny, who still works at Riot, he found out. He found out this equation after I was really poking around and trying to find out how we can get uh, the speed of a character to be accurately represented inside Maya. And at Riot, we have snazzy tools that do this for us, but you can also do it at home if you're inclined to just create a walk cycle. And if you want to make sure it hits the mark, what you're gonna do is create like a plane, and this plane moves back at exactly the speed at which the guy moves in the game. So this is actually how I get League of Legends, how I got League of Legends characters to basically feel planted in the game. And I was surprised that it wasn't happening before, and now that I'm not with Riot, this is now my legacy. The stickler of foot falling is not there anymore. But this technique, we had an intern recently, Lily Chang. I don't know if she's here watching, but she actually made a script for us that is awesome. You put in the script what character you're doing, and it'll automatically reference the INI file, which shows how fast they're moving and what scale they are, makes a plane, and then the texture itself animates at the exact speed at which they move in the game. So you don't even have to deal with, moving this plane properly. It stays in place and the texture rotates. And I think that was like super awesome. If she was on Yelp, I would give her an awesome review. I hope she comes back to Riot because she was super sick. And also Ross, the guy who helped me, Ross Kemeny, who helped me with this. But yeah, if you see here, here are my keys on the feet, and you'll see that I don't have any fancy foot rolling bones. I just what I call, like, I guess you just muscle it, and you'll see that each of these frames are just hand done. Once you get to foot falling and making sure that looks right, they say the devil is in the details, and this is what some people consider animation hell to get that looking right. Other side, you just really have to take painstaking care into if that's all lined up. So it's not perfect, but man, from the view of the game, that will look pretty solid. So that's a huge thing that really helps with getting animation on floors correct. So if you can find out exactly your move speed and the relation of units, what sort of units the game is using, and what units you are in Maya, then you could do the math and get the actual move speed. Yeah, dude, you're very welcome, sir. This is why I do this. This is why I do this. Okay, let's see. You're doing an Earth sculpt. That's awesome. That's awesome. The engine. Is it possible to have the engine timescale the? Oh yes, that's a great question. Timescale the animation if a designer changes the character's movement speed, or does that look wonky? If the character speeds up, they need to take bigger steps, etc. Yeah, actually, in most game engines, that's a feature, because let's say you speed up the walk speed by 25%. Speeding up the animation also by 25% will look correct technically in terms of footfalls. The gray gun thing. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, that's okay. That's fine. This gun actually is it's super basic, you can tell. The funny thing is I did parent that, but I guess because it's part of the rig, it didn't let me, but that's okay. Thank you for telling me. But Yeah, they do scale. And something we found out at League of Legends is once you hit a certain point, it just becomes Benny Hill running and it looks really weird. And so we create a new animation once you hit a certain threshold, and that's usually, depends on the character. Once you hit a certain threshold, and we switch to another animation. So that's one way to do it. All right, let's get back to this idle here. And how am I on time? Okay, so I'm probably going to have to end this pretty soon because I've got to get ready to go to Universal Studios. But if you guys ever have any other, you're probably already on my Twitter. Will I upload a VOD of this? Yeah, actually, if you check out my YouTube page, it's also oh my goodness. I'm gonna try to get this and put it out to get it on my YouTube so that you can watch later. But yeah, make sure you check it out. And while we're working here, I'll just continue. When he goes from here, oh, let's see, what frame was this? All right. Want to move this upper body. You can see the rotations are here. And the body kind of goes this way because the hips are up the other way. What is that called? Contrapposto? Contrapposti? Let's see. Gotta know. Contrapposto stance. All right, so whenever you're doing like a footfall, here's your naked men here. Whenever you're doing whenever you're doing like feet or sorry, weight shifting, when you have all the weight on, your hip goes up this way and your shoulders usually go the opposite at the same amount of the same rotation. So like this go right here, same thing, goes down that way, shoulders go this way. And so I don't know why it's in Italian. I think the sculptors back then they kind of understood that, but there's a word for it. It's contrapposto. Okay, does that like mean like opposite position? I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but I will do a walk cycle next time. But a walk cycle is very very time consuming. And as you know, if you've done anything or have seen anything with animation, everything is time consuming. But I'd love to do a walk cycle for you guys. I believe I have to do a backwards walk cycle for him, so that'll be on the thing. And I like doing this, so. And also, I'm not lonely when it happens. I have company. So he's gonna look this way. He's gonna be like, "Yo, what's up over here?" Turn my body. Very nice. Let's just make sure that his body's turned enough. Cool. Alright, let's see what that looks like in my graph editor. Rotations only, please. Show me the moves. Okay, so these are coming to a hard stop. I just want to A that. Boom, so that should slowly glide into place if you do it right, if it works. So he'll rotate, and then come to a slow stop. Perfecto. Cool, and I'm going to do that same technique with this. So I'm going to take the 2 frames or 3 frames of rotation beforehand, hit S, and then move it to the other side, and I want it to line up with that key. So that's at 547, and I want this key to be at 547 as well. 547 it is. Okay. 1 week to do a walk cycle. Yeah, it can take it can take a long time. Yeah. So All right, so yeah, I showed you a few of my little tricks that hopefully will help you with the animation. One, it's that, little overshoot trick, and also, hitting the play button and then the pause button to help you with figure out your timing so you don't have to do math. Um, I think it's 5, almost 5:30. I definitely have to start getting ready, but I just want to thank all of you guys for coming in and checking out the stream. Didn't get much done. I think I spent a lot more time talking, but by the time I get back to this tomorrow, you guys will see. Hopefully, I I might even stream if I get back to this tonight. But tomorrow you'll see the rest of this idle animation, and hopefully you guys join me too. Oh, Wiki says contrapposto is an Italian term that means counterpose. Ha! Perfect. Pose, position. I guess the same root word. Something there. All right, that's cool. All right, you learn something every day. Um, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming. I'll let you know. So just, I know you probably follow me on Twitter and stuff like that, and I'll be sure to let you guys know when I am streaming. And of course, if you want to email me, you can always email me at ohmygoodness@gmail.com or squash and stretch, whatever is easier for you. Um, Also, hit me up on Twitter. I'll answer whatever questions you have, and when I when I see it on the stream over to the right here, I can also answer questions while I'm streaming. So thank you guys again. I hope you had fun, because I did. So I guess it only matters if I have fun, but it's really good if you guys have fun too. So no, I'm just kidding. It matters if you guys have fun. Otherwise, nobody wants to be bored. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna end the stream here. You'll also be able to see this on video. So I'll be in chat for a little bit while I'm, preparing to switch this guy back to normal mode if I choose to animate him. So thanks again, and I hope to see you guys next time.